Aw, snap. We back at it again. I have no idea what episode this is. I have a lot of episodes recorded and only 2 of them uploaded. This is like literally like part 8 or something. Ugh, excuse me. Frick.
Opponent snapped.
Why on earth would you snap so early? Cards here can't be destroyed. Okay, whatever. Turns into a new location on turn 4. Okay. Oh, nice. I'll get to shoot you down. I am dumb. It cannot be destroyed. This. Cards here have +5 power. Oh, sure. Whatever. Yep. I mean, sometimes my brain just, really doesn't work.
Fully known.
What is this? Mantis. Okay, this will switch to both players draw from their opponent's deck. Oh, is that just like moving forward now? Mantis. Okay. I'm honestly about to lose pretty gosh darn bad. Yikes. Wait, why am I winning that side? 3-minute route. And you. Cool. Wow, I literally just won for no
Victory!
Come on, take me back to the screen so I can collect all the rewards that I haven't collected yet. On turn 5, all cards must be played here. We had a similar idea. whoever has more cards here gets. Oh no. Well, the good news is I can always move in. Honestly, the rock, funny enough, helps me. Great. 5 mana. Oh my freaking god. Okay. Why would you run out of the spot? You just gave me the win. Is that Korg? Yeah, I will definitely shoot down Korg. Snap.
Oh, snap!
Okay, now we must onto rebel cards must be played here. Bet, send in Gamora. I could either just gain a lot or yeah, no, let's just do this. Sir, do you not understand that I have 100 something power at that location? Literally the one unwinnable location for you. Once you let it get there. After each turn, give. Oh, nice. Just chill here. Get stronger than I'll get later. I definitely need to die. Cards played here might die. Okay, good to know. Odin! On turn 3, 4, and 5, no cards can be added here. Okay. Hope they don't die. I mean, if he has Iron Man, he'll beat me on set. I'm still winning over there. And the opponent retreats.
Victory!
Finally. Okay, so now we're upgrade.
Animated!
And now I collect all the stuff. Okay, yeah. Let's get all this. Swordmaster, unrevealed discard card from your hand. 3/6 and credits mystery card. Cable, yes, unrevealed. Put the bottom card of your into your hand. Interesting. So it gives me information and yeah. Okay, some hull points. Iron Fist on reveal. Move the next card to play. One location to the left after it reveals. That doesn't. Let's see the point in that. Okay, cool. Okay, but Cable was one of the cards that I was supposed to have in this deck. Now the question is, who do I get rid of? Probably Medusa. Bye-bye Medusa. Add in Cable. Two things that I should do. Oh, daily missions maybe? Okay, and now that I did that, I should have cleared this. Yeah. Now that's cleared, it got me this. There. Nice. Okay. What level am I? 18? I'm so close. Still 2 more explorations? Is it more challenges? This. Completed. Oh, something here. Okay. Next name. Okay. Still 2 more things? Oh. Claim. New avatar. Did I get it? Yes, reach. Recruit past point. Okay. Yes, sir, I will do it. 10 rolls. I'm down for that. Okay, scroll up. Didn't I just? Yeah. There we go. Spider-Man. If a card moved last turn, this costs 1. Oh. ongoing. Me personally, I would like to get rid of him. Throw in blue. So now we have 1 mana, 1 mana, 1 mana, 1 mana. 1 mana. Yeah, we have plenty of 1 mana cards, so let's keep on looking for more stuff to upgrade. You can upgrade even further.
3D.
Got some iron crystals. Okay, cool. Oh. Look for the glow. Look for the glow. Look for the glow. Oh, I think we got some Iron Man. Yeah, we got this new Iron Man.
Frame break.
Okay. Oh, I've got her.
3D.
Mystery. So on reveal, if your opponent played a card here this turn, draw a card from their deck. 1 mana, 1, 2. Interesting. Oh. I kinda like that more than Yondu, to be honest. On reveal. Oh wait, no. Ongoing. So instead of Yondu, on reveal, remove the top card of your opponent's deck. Okay, we'll get Mantis. So if I guess correctly, I take the card out of the deck. If I guess incorrectly, then their deck stays normal. One card ready to be upgraded. Oh, spider. Spider.
Frame break.
Is it still Spider-Man? Oh, it's still Spider-Man, okay. can actually make the straight up on one. Okay, so here we go. Let's go to. It was recently. Oh wait, it's gonna be all my music. No. Okay, hang on. Marvel Snap. Best pool one decks. Okay, best starter decks 14.
In action, just to see how crazy this can get. Alrighty, Angela early. So we've got an interesting decision point here. I think I will hold our 1-drops here, even the Hawkeye, because we want to make sure we have enough ways to scale up our Angela. I've seen a lot of people just play out 1-mana cards, 1 energy cards without really any reason. Sometimes you often have a lot of energy to float in the mid game. You won't always. This could technically backfire. Cool. You may have a good clean curve, a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sort of scenario, and then you miss out on a Hawkeye. But ultimately, with the Angela in hand in particular, I think it's worth it to hold, because often you're going to find some 1 energy gaps here and there to start weaving these sorts of cards into play without too much problem. Cards with no abilities, we don't have those, so this is going to be hard for us to utilize, but I don't want to stack a bunch of stats in a sewer system. I could arguably put some of my ongoing cards in Washington, D.C. with the notion that if they were to be Enchantressed and silenced, then they would gain the benefit of Washington, D.C., but I think that's pretty greedy sort of decision to make, frankly. So here we can do this if we want, but probably don't want to commit the Ant-Man just yet, because Hawkeye, we're going to want to play something here next turn, and if I play the Ant-Man, that means we're locking out this position. Nightcrawler doesn't lock it out, so that's fine, but I might want to put a 4-mana card here. On that notion too, though, since we have Limbo, this is a longer game. We have a lot more energy to work with throughout the course of the game. Maybe I hold the Hawkeye here, because I might want to follow him up with like a blue Marvel.
It was someone else. Marvel Snap 4 months ago, 1 month ago, 8 days ago, 1 day ago. Marvel Snap best beginner deck. Could have been this.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this Marvel Snap Beginner's Guide on one of the best decks in Marvel Snap for beginners, the Beginner's Control deck. And in this guide, I'm going to walk you through each of the cards that comprises of the deck, and I'll give you an explanation as to why it's there, and give you an idea of how it works, because if you're watching this video, you're new to the game, so perhaps a little bit of an explanation works wonders. And also, at the end of this explanation, I'm going to be providing like 4 or 5 gameplay clips to illustrate to you how the deck functions, how it's played, and I think those are a lot of fun, because I'm playing this beginner's deck against guys who are playing like late pool 3 cards, so it's kind of fun to see how a beginner's deck can actually be viable at higher ranks. Regardless, let's talk about it. Now, the first card is Korg. It's a 1-drop. Shuffle a rock into your opponent's deck. Now, the nice thing about shuffling this rock, this 1 mana, 0.
Scroll past all the music. Music. Okay. Now we're into the Marvel Snap territory. Okay. Best pool 1. Okay. The best beginner decks.
And rounding out the deck are the Incredible Hulk, just as a solidly statted card with 12 power, and Spectrum as a little alternative, which is very nice in this deck to have the option to choose between 2 potential finishers. Hulk is better if we want to double down on 1 location, make sure we secure it.
Not play Enchantress on top of your armor, or else you'll allow them to destroy 6 deck I show later on. And all the decks are going to be available.
We're still part 1. Transform into one of the other locations. Interesting. Spectrum ongoing. These cards here are not revealed until the game. Okay, maybe maybe it
make sure
was
to
this
secure it.
person.
Spectrum is better to spread out power across the whole board and try to compete from multiple locations at once and maybe even catch our opponents by surprise. The Spectrum buff gains additional value on Iron Man again, doubling the buff, and we have Mr. Fantastic, Ant-Man, and Colossus as potential other recipients.
No, it's
now, there are a
not.
couple of tech choices we can work with.
I mean, there's the
Spectrum is one of the first 6 energy cards you unlock in Marvel Snap. There's even a Battle Pass challenge
and
which
it
requires
has-
you to win 2
yeah, it has
games
blue
with her in your starting deck.
Spectrum.
I built an
But I also
optimized
wanted
version of this
Onslaught.
Spectrum deck using cards which you will have access to really early on in the game. If you don't have all of them, do not panic. After a few games, you'll eventually be able to get hold of all of them, and I will offer some suggestions for replacements for cards that you definitely will have. My name's Specimen. I've been playing Marvel Snap for the last 5 months. Make sure you subscribe for more Marvel Snap beginner content. Also, check me out on Twitch, where I do stream a lot of Marvel Snap. Spectrum costs 6 and is 5 stats, and on reveal she is giving your ongoing cards +2 power. So of course the deck has lots of ongoing cards, it's got just the best mid-range cards, and then I've just filled out the rest of the deck to make sure we have a nice solid mana curve. Spectrum is really good at...
So it is supposed to be this deck, but there's supposed to be an Onslaught in here. Marvel Snap Onslaught deck. Ongoing Onslaught deck. There we go. Onslaught. Oh, Miss Chavez. I don't have her. I don't have these things. No. I'm going on decks. Onslaught Magic. Okay, no. I'm gonna type in Marvel Snap. Beginner Onslaught deck. Marvel Snap Beginner Guide. 5 best beginner decks. No. 2 days ago. Best Marvel. Top decks for beginners for the win. No. God damn it. Marvel Snap. Best decks.
The Blue Marvel, for instance, on turn 5. That said, Blue Marvel Onslaught is something I probably want to play together as well. So we may want to start creating ourselves a bit of a ongoing location. Like maybe we put it on Limbo, for instance, with Iron Man.
Available in the scrub bar down below. I'm also going to include links in the description to each of them so you can copy and paste them, relatively easily. And if you are interested in getting some suggestions and feedback as to, what you can substitute for what card, let us know in the comments. I'm sure the community would love to help. Regardless, today we're going to get it started with the Dracula Discard Combo deck. This is truly one of the best cards in the game, best decks in the game, I should say. And one of the reasons why is it is a very consistent play that ultimately allows you to have a very consistent turn 6 and 7 with Magic. Now, Magic is not absolutely required. Magic actually creates Limbo, which allows you to have an additional turn to basically clear your hand and ensure a steady hit for your Dracula. With that being said, if you do not have Magic, you just don't put a 5-drop. that allows you to basically use your turn 5 and 6 to kind of dump your hand to ensure that Dracula, who when at the end of the game discards a card and then gains their power, is more or less guaranteed to hit Apocalypse. Because the important thing to understand is
Maybe it was
You'll
this.
only duplicate the first 2 cards, so just be aware of that when you're playing Moongirl. A really good target for Moongirl in this deck is Devil Dinosaur. You want him in the front of your hand and you're able to duplicate and get a second one potentially for turn 6. Can be a really, really strong push on the board. For me, White Queen is the second core card in this deck and an absolute sleeper pick. I think
let's go
now,
back.
before we get into the first deck, a quick rundown on what you're actually seeing on your screen. Up here we have a deck highlight board with lots of 1-drops and cheap cards, and then tries
yes, I
to
think
boost
this
up
is it. Okay, so here we go. So it is Zoo Boost. Apparently. Then we copy this into Snap. Paste it. It's Ant-Man, Hawkeye, Squirrel, Grog, you, Sondu, her, you, Captain America, Kaiser, and Olsen. Okay, that is fine. Okay, that's fine. Then we can make some personal modifications. Instead of Hawkeye, I want this one. Alright, we're good. It looks good to me. Okay.
their power later on in the game. First up, we have Ant-Man or 5 cost. He's really key on the core of this deck. The final thing I want to say about this deck, which makes it insanely strong in Pool 1, is that later on in Pool 2, a card comes into the which can a version of one deck, which is the Odin on Reveal deck. So as in the title, this deck
Yeah,
really
but I don't
revolves
have,
around
like,
the
Scarlet
on
Witch
cost
or
cards to
stuff.
locations, on reveal a
Yeah, there's a lot of cards I'm
in the
actually
game
missing.
to reactivate those abilities as well. Wolfsbane is a great 3-drop who represents a really strong push on a single location. If you already have 3 cards on a location, and Wolfsbane is the 4th card, she can represent 7 power added to that location in one hit
Wait,
for
wait,
only
the
3 costs,
Spectrum
which is
on
really, really strong. You can also potentially double activate Wolfsbane's ability by doubling down with Odin as a 4th card later if she is the 3rd card played or the 2nd card played. So she's quite versatile in locking down a single location and does really good. White Tiger is another core card in this deck. Her on-reveal ability shoots out a 7 power tiger to another location. It is random, but it is quite a strong push. It can also allow you to get additional power into locations where you might not be able to reach it. Things like the Sanctum Sanctorum or Death's Domain, you can actually get power into that location easily by activating her Tiger ability. She's also a fantastic target for Odin later on in the game, where you can reactivate that Tiger ability and get more Tigers out on the board. Gamora is another flavor pick of mine and something that got a recent buff. She can go all the way up to 12 power if you're able to activate her on-reveal ability, which I think makes an insanely strong card if you can do that. Later on in the game, it is also much more predictable as to where your opponent's playing, so you can definitely get some really strong plays with Gamora late on in the game. And if you're looking to lock down a single location, you might even be able to reactivate her ability with Odin, which just sends her over the top. Spider-Woman is an awesome card to drop when you are fighting your opponent for a single location. Sometimes you'll find in the game you are back and forth with your opponent, fighting over a location. Dropping Spider-Woman, negatively affecting their board, boosting yours up by 7 can be a really strong push in your favor. and you can potentially even double down on that with Odin later on in the game and reactivate that on reveal ability. Rounding out the deck, we have the Allfather himself, Odin, and Odin's ability reactivates all of the on reveal abilities at a single location. That's why we have cards like Ironheart, White Tiger, Wolfsbane, Spider-Woman, Gamora, all these cards with really, really strong on-reveal effects. We can double down on that and reactivate them with Odin on that location. If you're trying to win a single location, you can reactivate those abilities that are strong at a single location. I've found the strongest play line is to play Ironheart and White Tiger at a single location, and then you slam Odin later in the game for a huge power push across the board and to spread power that way. He's a really versatile card, which helps you win a lot of games, and he's a core card in this deck when playing it. So rounding things out with number 3, the third best deck, but what I think is the funnest deck by far in Pool 1 in this deck. Another runner-up deck that I have, and a really, really strong deck for Pool 1 in its own right, is Ongoing Spectrum. A lot of people would actually have this in their top 3, if not their top 1. It is a really, really strong deck in its own right, and I can see why. But for me, the single point of failure in this deck is drawing Spectrum. It's really, really heavily reliant on drawing Spectrum as a card. Now, there are other win conditions in the deck. Iron Man can really provide a strong push for a single location. Claw and Mr. Fantastic can provide a sneaky push of power to locations which they aren't on.
so
Captain America, Punisher can provide a really strong ongoing effects around boosting up a single location. But I think without Spectrum, and when I didn't draw Spectrum, it felt a little bit lackluster. When you do draw Spectrum, you absolutely wipe the floor with a lot of decks, and you can get some very strong wins out there. But I think without Spectrum, it didn't feel quite as strong or consistent as the other decks in my top 3. In saying that, it's absolutely a super deck for Pool 1, and definitely something you should try out and see if it's successful for you. The core cards in this deck are Spectrum, which provides a +2 power to all of your ongoing cards on the board. It also Iron Man, which is a great way to win a single location and boost up a lot of power there. And finally Claw, which is a great way to push power to multiple locations from a single card. So that wraps up what I think are the best 3 decks for Pool 1, as well as 2 very worthy runner-ups. Now we're going to give them a crack at Infinite Rank and see how they go. Okay, so this time around we have the Pool 1 Boost deck, which really involves a lot of 1-drops and looking to boost them up with cards like Kazar and One Marvel. We're going to Elysium, which is a pretty good location for us. We're going to have lots of cards that are going to cost 0. So we can actually kind of just hold, and we can wait and see what the later locations are going to be. Elysium kind of, making cards cost 0 gives us that kind of freedom. So we do go into Shadowland, which isn't all that bad for us, especially seeing as though we have Kazar. I might go ahead and get out Captain America though. Then we can pass the turn. This deck has been super, super successful for me. It's actually the deck that I first ran all the way to Infinite when I made Infinite in the first season of playing Marvel Snap. So for me, it's been an incredibly consistent deck and something that just kind of works. It's kind of out of the box. It does what it says it does, which is kind of consistently boost up cards. And the really cool thing about this deck as well, and I'll play Kazar over on Captain America here. The really cool thing about the really cool thing about this deck is that because it runs so many 1-drops, there's a card called Killmonger, which destroys all 1-drops that are on the board. But Killmonger actually doesn't enter the game until Pool 2. So while you're in Pool 1, this deck's actually really, really safe from Killmonger, and I would think it's probably the number 1 deck potentially in Pool 1. Super consistent deck. You can do a lot with it as well. We have so much power that we can play here, but I think we're just going to continue to hold. This location we might get a Blue Marvel and an Onslaught, so we actually don't need to do anything this turn because we have so many cards at +0. So we're versing a Patriot deck, which is a pretty strong deck at the moment, for sure. They do get a lot of kind of buffs out on the board, being a Patriot deck, but we'll see how we go. I don't know if we're going to be able to win this one against a Patriot deck. They do get it. They end up buffing the board minions that don't have abilities, so they're quite a strong deck for sure. But again, we probably don't need to play anything here. We can really flood the board on the final turn. A White Tiger, interesting. There's a slightly different version of a Patriot deck, I guess. What we probably should have done last turn is played out Nightcrawler and Angela and then moved him away, but that's okay. This is going to be the strongest play we can make. We can throw out Hawkeye just for laughs. Let's go ahead and lock it in. I don't know if we win this, but we'll see. Snapping on us, which means that they probably have Onslaught. And Onslaught does beat us. It doesn't beat us in left, but it beats us in right. There's no Onslaught.
We're going
Interesting, okay. We might actually win this one
to someone's house.
Wait, we might actually win this one, sorry, in right lane. We do have a ton of